Ever wondered where the concept of a parliament came from? Believe it or not, it all started with the United Kingdom. The roots of this institution stretch back to the 13th century, earning it the title of the Mother of Parliaments. The formation of this legislative body wasn't a sudden event, but a gradual evolution, shaped by the socio-political circumstances of the time. So buckle in as we explore the UK Houses of Parliament. In the beginning, the Parliament was simply an assembly of the kingdom's elite, the clergy, knights, burgesses and citizens. However, the year 1295 marked a significant turning point. This was when the Model Parliament was formed, considered the first representative parliament. Suddenly, the idea of a parliament wasn't just about a gathering of nobility and clergy. It was about representation and giving a voice to different sections of society. Over the years, the role of the UK Parliament started shifting from a judicial body to a legislative one. Bills started requiring the approval of both the House of Lords and the House of Commons, ensuring a more balanced and fair process. The 15th century saw another crucial change: the reform of the electoral system for the House of Commons. This reform paved the way for the development of political factions, which eventually led to the emergence of modern political parties. From its humble beginnings, the UK Parliament underwent a profound transformation, evolving into a powerful legislative body. The Parliament didn't always have the power it holds today, so how did it evolve over time? In its early days, Parliament's role was more judicial than legislative. It was a court of sorts, a place where grievances were heard and resolved. However, as the centuries rolled on, the role of Parliament began to change. The legislative aspect of Parliament started to outshine its judicial function. One might say it found its true calling. This shift wasn't sudden. It was a gradual process, a slow transformation that took place over centuries. The turning point arrived with the introduction of bills. These were proposed laws that required approval from both the House of Lords and the House of Commons. This was a pivotal moment, marking the shift from a judicial to a legislative parliament. But the evolution didn't stop there. The electoral system for the House of Commons underwent a significant reform in the 15th century, specifically in 1430. This reform was a game changer. It meant that the House of Commons was no longer just a gathering of the wealthy and the powerful. It was a forum for the people, a place where their voices could be heard. This transformation was significant. It was a step towards a more democratic system, a system where the people had a say in the laws that governed them. However, the evolution of Parliament was not just about changes in structure or function. It was also about the people involved. The development of political factions within Parliament eventually led to the emergence of modern political parties. But the transformation didn't stop there. The development of political factions led to the emergence of modern political parties. Did you know that the English Civil Wars had a significant impact on the evolution of the UK Parliament? The mid-17th century was a tumultuous time in England, marked by a series of civil wars that would forever change the face of the nation's political landscape. Now, when we talk about the English Civil Wars, we're referring to a series of armed conflicts and political machinations that occurred between 1642 and 1651. The main players, the Royalists, loyal to King Charles V, and the Parliamentarians led by Oliver Cromwell. The bone of contention was primarily the manner of governance. Who held the ultimate power in the realm? Was it the king or was it the Parliament? The parliamentarians believed in the concept of parliamentary sovereignty, the idea that Parliament was the supreme legal authority in the country, which could create or end any law. The king and his royalists, on the other hand, believed in the divine right of kings, the idea that the monarch's right to rule was derived directly from the will of God. As the wars raged on, the parliamentarians emerged victorious, resulting in a temporary overthrow of the monarchy and the establishment of the Commonwealth of England. This period, known as the Interregnum, saw a radical political experiment where England became a republic for more than a decade. But what does all this have to do with the evolution of the UK Parliament, you may ask? Well, the civil wars were a catalyst for the shift in power from the monarchy to the Parliament. They underscored the need for a strong representative legislative body that could check the powers of the monarchy and ensure a fair and just governance. The civil wars were a turning point, leading to the formation of the modern parliamentary system. So, the next time you look at the UK Parliament, remember that its current form and function was shaped, in part, by the events of the 17th century, a period of strife and conflict that ultimately led to the establishment of one of the world's oldest democratic institutions. So, what does the modern UK Parliament look like today? Well, it's a complex structure that has been shaped by centuries of history. It consists of three main parts: the Sovereign, the House of Lords, and the House of Commons. This trifold structure is key to the functioning of the UK's parliamentary democracy. Let's start with the Sovereign. The Sovereign, currently King Charles III, holds a largely ceremonial role in the modern UK Parliament. He signs bills into law, a process known as royal assent, and opens and closes sessions of Parliament. But don't be fooled by the regal pomp and circumstance. The real political power lies elsewhere with the Houses of Parliament themselves. Enter the House of Lords and the House of Commons. The House of Lords is the upper House of Parliament, and it's a bit different from what you might expect. It's not filled with elected representatives, but instead it's composed of life peers, bishops, and hereditary peers. These individuals bring a wealth of experience and expertise to the table. They review legislation passed by the House of Commons, suggest amendments, and provide a check on government power. And finally, let's talk about the House of Commons. This is where the action really happens. It's filled with members of Parliament, or MPs, who are elected by the public in general elections. They debate issues, propose laws, and scrutinise the work of the government. The leader of the majority party in the House of Commons becomes the Prime Minister, who is the head of government. But it's not just about the structure. The UK Parliament is also about process. It's about debating issues, proposing laws, and holding the government to account. It's about representing the people and making decisions that affect every aspect of life in the UK. The UK Parliament has come a long way since its inception, standing as a beacon of democracy and representation. The UK Parliament is a complex machine, but how exactly does it operate? Let's delve into this intricate process. It all begins with the introduction of a bill. This proposed law can be introduced by any member of Parliament, but it's usually initiated by a government minister in the House of Commons or the House of Lords. Once the bill is introduced, it goes through several stages. The first two readings involve a general debate on the bill's principles and themes. If it passes these stages, it moves on to the committee stage, where it's examined line by line, allowing for detailed scrutiny and possible amendments. After the committee stage, the bill returns to the House for its report stage. Here, further opportunity to amend the bill is given. Once all amendments are considered, the bill proceeds to its third reading, which is the final chance for the House to debate its contents. However, at this stage, no further amendments may be made. The process we just outlined occurs in the House where the bill was introduced. If it successfully passes all stages, the bill then moves to the other House, where it undergoes a similar process. But we're not quite done yet. After the bill has been agreed upon by both houses, it's sent for royal assent. Despite its grand name, this stage is largely ceremonial today. The monarch has not refused royal assent since the early 18th century. Now, throughout this entire process, debates are a key component. They allow MPs to discuss the bill's details, its merits, and its potential impacts. Votes are also crucial. A majority vote is required for a bill to progress through each stage. So you see, the operation of the Parliament is a meticulous process, ensuring that every proposed law is thoroughly examined and debated. It's a system that not only creates laws, but also holds the government to account. The operation of the Parliament is a testament to the balance of power and democratic principles. So, we've seen how the Parliament works, but what role does it play in the UK? Well, that brings us to the end of part 1. If you would like to continue, then be sure to watch part 2, which will be linked below.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Also, if you're interested in exploring other topics, make sure to check out my other 2 channels which are linked below. I appreciate your support and I'll see you in the next video.